this time.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Brandon, aka Drip, back with another awesome video. And today's video, we got the Galaxy Eyes support. Sorry, I hit the tripod. We finally got the Galaxy Eyes support, finally. And I got my hands on it at this past pre-release. At time recording, it was the last night. I was actually fortunate. All the guys, teammates and stuff, helped me out and gave me all the cards I needed in order to make this video, except for three cards, which are new cards, which in my opinion are going to be the most staple cards in this deck moving forward. I didn't get a chance to get my hands on them because they're kind of expensive, and I'm also building Kashtira to mix with my Tier Elements deck. Yes, I know I'm toxic. I'm sorry. But so I couldn't get my hands on it, but I will get my hands on it. But for you all who's going to be main decking this deck and wanting to play at its highest ceiling, you will need that card, because that card is going to be an absolute staple and mandatory for the rest of the card's existence. So it's going to be in this deck. If you want to play the deck at its highest ceiling, you will play the card. I know a lot of people hate it when I add cards that are kind of expensive, but this card is not to play it. Like I said again, I know it's talking in circles, but to play the deck at its highest ceiling, this card is not replaceable. There is not a budget option. There is not no other option. You have to get this card. You have to. When we get there, I'll tell you. And you can't play the old cards that we used to play, because they basically make you go neg even though you're trying to plus against Kashtira. When I give you these lists, if you don't already know me and know how I function when it comes to making my Galaxy Eyes list, I try to set you up the best I can to go against the best decks and the best deck. So this list is for next format. That's why it's post Photon Hypernova. So it's going to be for the next format. Obviously, it can still play in this format as well, but it's mainly going to be for next format. So take that how you will, because if you're not in for the most competitive deck list, then you're watching the wrong video. I try and thrive on making the deck as best as I can. So this card that I'm talking about is going to be another one of those things that I just completely rewrite how Galaxy Eyes is played with that one card. So, but with that being said, we've waited several months, like 6 months, almost half a year for these cards. No more waiting. Let's go ahead and get into this profile. Clean 40, by the way, too, which was very hard because there's a lot of good tech cards to run and stuff, but I wanted to keep it as close to 40 as possible. Which I did. I actually kept it to 40. Also, this is, I think, the first time that I've made a list that actually has every card in it that's a monster wise is its own archetype, basically, which is kind of cool. You love to see it. Photon Dragon OG. You know the ratios: hand, deck, graveyard. That in that order. Shout out to 3 stacks. No less. That's the way it has to be. It's the way it's always going to be. Now, the normal summon that we all have been waiting for, basically, we've had them all along. 3 wizard. The entire deck now is going to flow through him and only him. If you play the deck right, it's going to flow through him. That's it. If you still have bricking issues, which the deck obviously still not out of the woods when it comes to bricking and stuff, because it can still brick. But this is your guy. This is the guy, the man. This is the man. This is the guy that gets you there. He is that guy. What a lot of people don't know is he's a soft once per turn. And on top of being a soft once per turn, neither of his effects are a hard once per turn. So you can legit use both of his effects on the same summon. You could summon him, make him an 8. Then once you make him an 8, you contribute him off to search. In the combo, you can loop him 2 to 3 times in one turn to abuse this guy. So the deck runs through him. On top of running through him, the way the deck runs now is before Photon Hypernova, the deck did not really give two jack diddly squats about your level, your rank 4s. The deck now runs through your 4s to get to your 8s, which you can still get to your 8s without your 4s. It's just your 4s are your bigger toolbox now that gets you to your 8s faster and get to more 8s as well, rank 8s as that is on what I'm talking about. So he is the guy. You have to max out on him, no less. No less. You see this card in your opening hand, you're already at a higher advantage because it tributes for cost, so it dodges impermanent stuff. They have to impermanent on summon, or they're just going to go like you're just going to go plus so hard. On to the rest of the Galaxy Eye stuff. 3 Soldier because it's standard. It's still one of the best searchers. And we'll always run 3. I'm on 2 Brave because our Photon engine is bigger now, so we kind of need it. Yeah. So 2 Brave necessary. On to the one-ofs. Summoner, the new one, and then the Cleric, and then only 1 Afterglow. I know this is going to trigger a lot of you all, but if you know my videos and my lists, you know I'm never going to steer you guys in the wrong direction. On top of that, sorry. On top of that, he's a situational card. You have to control a Galaxy Eyes card, so you only really need this for OTK, and that's it. Nothing else. But if you draw it, then you're sitting pretty good. You mainly just want to summon it off of Trance from deck to get the OTK. That's literally it. Other than that, you can just keep looping it from grave to summon it with Soul Flare. It's very situational. Like I said, you want to, when my previous videos and all my previous lists, you want to minimize the situational cards as much as possible. And you want to maximize the utility that the cards provide you to get you further into your game state and advance your make your board presence more impressive. And since this is a situation you have to have a Galaxy Eyes card, it's not a good starter. And I want all my cards to be starters. If you take a look at if all these cards are starters in a way. The only one that's somewhat not a starter is Summoner, but in a mid to late game situation, it's a starter. Everything's a starter. Could be even a starter because you need it to really pitch off of this. Galaxy Eyes and Grave is just disgusting. Because almost more disgusting in Grave than it is in hand or graveyard. I mean in deck. And now moving on to the Photon. 3 Orbital. The market needs to chill, bro. Needs to chill on Orbital. Like, there's no reason it should be that expensive. I sold my ultra rare copies last night at the pre-release to a guy. Shout outs to you if you're watching this video. It was another Galaxy Eyes player. I didn't know. I thought it was still like $8 or whatever, and I looked it up, and he was going for like 25 plus. That was absolutely insane for the ultra rare. And then moving on to more. 2 Emperor. You could argue you can get away with 1. 3 is way too cloggy. I know it's a good card, but you only need 2. I would even argue to cut it to 1, but the only reason I'm running 2 is because of Bestials. Bestials are still cards, and until they go away, 2 is necessary. Because it's very good. You get so much advantage off of this card because you get a rank 8, you get a body, and you get an additional normal summon, which is like very necessary. You need to have that extra normal summon to basically play because Galaxy Eyes just needs it, sadly. 2 Vanisher. Vanisher is necessary because you go +1 off of this, and since the deck utilizes the 4s now more than ever, you need this, but 3 is too cloggy, but 2 is just perfect. 2's been the ratio for a while now. And then the last card I added Advancer. Advancer is really busted because, like I said before already, the deck flows through 4s. So this is just free. And on top of that, if you have the 4 on board, as in Galaxy Photon Dragon, the rank 4, the new one, and then you special summon this, you can make this an 8. So indirectly, this could be a 4 or an 8. So the utility off of this is too big. Too big not to play, basically. You don't need Thrasher. Thrasher's garbage. I love you guys, but if you're still playing Thrasher in 2023, you're playing the deck wrong. I love you so much, and I'm not trying to hurt your feelings saying that. Thrasher's dead after turn one, and like I said before, you want to minimize the situational cards. After turn one, Thrasher's literally just a good discard for Soldier and nothing else. But again, I understand some people still want to try to play the deck the way it was played in like 2014, but you want to play and beat the best, you got to play the deck at its best. So moving on to the spells. 3 Sanctuary is absolutely mandatory, which everyone knows that. I know this is going to look weird. I bumped trade into 3 mainly because, one, I'm not running Small World in this build, and I know I made Small World basically mandatory in all the lists, and everyone usually runs it now because of me. But I cut it because of one reason and one reason only. And that reason is if you're going second against Kashtira and you use, which is the card that I talked about, you're going to go super negative if you use it. If you're going second against Kashtira and they haven't already wiped out all your whole board because you had no real interaction with them, or you had interaction and it wasn't enough because hand traps usually don't go far enough in this game, in that time and era of the game, you allow them to wipe up and clean up the rest of your board because Small World banishes cards face down, which procs the Shangira. So you don't want to play into that. You want to play around that as much as possible. And the level 8s have increased since before. So even though I can't stand, because myself personally, every time I use trade-in, I use trade-in and draw into another trade-in because I'm trash at this game. But between Shangira and more 8s, 3 trade-in was kind of like really nice. But if you don't have a big like Kashtira turnout at your locals, you still potentially want to play Small World. You can. I don't really know what I would cut because I like this deck perfectly as it is, card for card. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to proxy the 3 cards that I'm going to say is absolutely mandatory. And I know it kind of sounds kind of annoying because I'm saying they're mandatory and I don't have them. I'm going to get them. I don't have them yet. I traded away a lot of high end cards to get the Kashtira cards that I need, but I'm going to put the proxies right here, probably on the screen for you. The 3 cards that is absolutely mandatory is Triple Tactic Thrust. That card is absolutely mandatory moving forward in this deck. Absolutely mandatory. Absolutely mandatory. If you don't know what it does, let me read it to you. It's a normal spell card. It says if your opponent activated monster effects this turn, not main phase like Triple Tactic Talent, just this turn, your draw phase, standby, main, battle phase, main phase 2 during your end phase, even though you can't really activate during the end phase, but you get my drift. You can set one normal spell or trap directly from the deck, but you can't use it this turn. But where this card shines is if you're going second. If you're going second, you can add it to your hand and use it that turn. So, and where does this tie in? You can search your trade-ins. You can search your sanctuaries off of tactics going second. You can search your triple tactics talents that we're playing in the deck to go second. You can search your expedition for more offensive plays. You can search your trance that we're playing because it's a normal spell. It can search this card that we're playing too to have interaction. Infinite Impermanence. It can search when you're going second. If you're going second, you can search evenly match because it's a normal trap. Search evenly match, clean up the board, main phase 2, set up your offensive board, and you simplified the game state, and you broke their board, and now you're in complete control of the game. Triple Tactics Thrust is an absolute mandatory card moving forward with this deck if you want to play the deck at its high ceiling. Look at all these cards it can search. This is absolutely disgusting. It indirectly makes Thrust indirectly the search card that we've needed all along because it can search all these. I just wish it can search this. That's what I wish it could search, but it's a counter and you can't. But no, it can search all of this. You can search all of these. Why would you not play a card that can search your main deck and your side deck utility cards for you? I'll never understand if you try to argue with me on that. I love you guys though. obviously, I showed you the traps and I showed you cards out of order. The last two cards in the deck is 1-0 and 100. That's it. But makes the deck a clean 40. One thing I will say, though, about the Infinite Impermanence, I want to give you a little tip for if you're watching this video and we're already in Kashtira swing format. Because of the time I'm recording this, it's literally the day after the pre-release for me. It's literally February 4th at the time of recording this video. So Impermanence is going to be kind of mid against Kashtira. You can argue Nibiru is going to be good against Kashtira, but I wouldn't run Nib. Only I could run Nib in the side, but the reason why I won't run Nib in the main is because you never know. It might not be. You might accidentally drop it too early, and it's not as impactful. What I will swap these out for, if I were you, after Kashtira takes over, I would swap them out for Jizukuru the Kaiju, the light Kaiju. The one that Cyber Dragon runs. I'm pretty sure I have it over here somewhere, right? Do I. So if you need to know what he looks like this right here. He looks like this. This is what he looks like. I would run 3 of him because he's a light and he's a kaiju, and yeah, he's 3,300, but our monsters are bigger than 3,300, so we can just easily get over it if we need to. And I know what a lot of people are probably going to already in the keyboard chat talking about, bro, why so you made Small World mandatory in the deck, and you made Astral Karibo mandatory in the deck when they first came out. Why are you not running them? I already told you why I'm not running Small World. The reason why I'm not running Astral Karibo is almost the same reason. Astral Karibo is very good paired with Small World, mainly because it's the legit perfect middleman for this deck for the Small World target, as the one you reveal from deck. And if you see it, it's a great extender. The deck doesn't really need that much extension anymore because the deck is so much more extended. It needs utility cards to be able to dig for its extenders or go search its extenders, hence the Triple Tactics Talents and the Triple Tactics Thrust. Those cards or help you get there, as of where, like, and none of that, you don't get as much out of Astral Karibo anymore as you did before, mainly because, like I said before, we already have the extenders. Now, if we had a number monster that was rank 4, because this deck runs off of 4s and 8s, then that would be perfect, because then we can get to our 4s if we need to, and we can get to our 8s if we need to. But if I do add Small World back, I will add Astral Karibo back. But until then, Astral Karibo is not really needed because we already have the necessary extenders that we need, or the ways to keep playing if we need to. That's it for the main deck. Clean 40, like I said before. I wanted the extra deck. Sasuke, obviously. This extra deck, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even like trying to clickbait or try to say anything. I really think this extra deck is the perfect. I'll never change this extra deck. I don't even think, even if they brought Dark Matter back, I would change this extra deck from a competitive standpoint. I mean, I'm obviously, if they bring Dark Matter back, I'm going to make a build, because I've been playing Galaxy House for like 4.5 years now, and I've never got to play with Dark Matter because they banned him right before I started playing it. Bushinki Ashima, this is all standard. That's it for the links. You don't need any more because you recycle them, except for Ashima. Two Lord is still mandatory, mainly because you need one for the negation, and then you need another one to be able to XZ rank up, basically. So you need one for negation, and then the other one just to overlay on top of, like, your full armor, your Cypher Blades, and all that. Because you still need them for the middleman for that, and it's just never a bad thing to have a second 90. So yeah, 2 is still mandatory. I had a couple people ask me if 2 is still mandatory. 2 is definitely still mandatory. For the Cypher package, Cypher X, Full Armor, Cypher Blade. I know Full Armor is not a Cypher package, but whatever. Cypher is still very much mandatory, because you can just it's very nice stealing your opponent's crap and then using X to overlay on top of it. Cypher Blade and Full Armor just good at clearing boards. Not much really needs to be said about those. I put 38 back in here because we have a bunch of 8 extenders now, and being able to end on Galaxy 100, 90, Soul Flare, and this with Galaxy Photon Dragon, the XZ, is kind of like really disgusting. So you get an additional form of interruption / negation. So that's why I put him back in there. Prime OTK baby, okay, OTK daddy. And then the new boy is really good. If you don't know what it does, I can read it to you. It says you can also XE summon using number 62 Galaxy S Prime Photon Dragon. You can control transfers materials of this card. At the start of the battle phase, you can detach one material of this card. You can make 3 attacks among monsters during the battle phase. If a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is material, it gains these effects. It's unaffected by your opponent's monsters effects, which is really nice. And it gains attack equal to the levels and ranks of its attached materials times 100, which he can get really huge. So if you keep Photon Dragon and this equipped, he can get monstrous, and he becomes unaffected by monster effects, and he can attack monsters 3 times. Yeah, he's really gross. He's really good. He's only a 1-of though. Mainly because you can recycle it with cleric and stuff like that. And this card doesn't like people are going to be really excited because they have a new toy to play with when it comes to this card. You don't even really need to be turboing this card out. The only time you ever really even need to bring this card out is if you're dealing with a monster that is huge and is like banishing your stuff. Like you're playing against Mirror Jade or something like that. That's the time you just turbo this out, because like they have no real way to out that card like Branded doesn't, that I know of off the top of my head because I used to play I played Branded, so I know the deck inside out. They don't really have a way to out this card because this can get huge. Or you're playing against Scareclaw to get around their Link 3 or whatever, Tryhard. So like I know a lot of people are going to like just turbo this out turn 1 and sit on it because they're happy to have a new toy to play with. But I promise you, if you do that, you're going to get punished because you're going to get hit with Kaijus, droplets, Imperm, all that shit. This is really good to make during the simplified game state or during the situation that I've already given you. I promise. Moving on to the new boy, Galaxy Photon Dragon. This guy's really nice. He gives your 4s purpose. Sad that we have to have a search card in an XZ, but I'll take it over a not having one. To summarize what this card does, you can use 2 4s to make it. It buffs all your other like light monsters it buffs all light monsters by 500 attacks, which is really nice because it gives Blast the attack buff that it needs without relying on Orbital to get its own protection to protect itself. So it's like almost as if Konami's rewriting the wrongs that they did with this and with this card basically, because it gives it attack boost. And another thing this card does, if you special summon a Galaxy Photon card while you control this card, obviously you can manipulate its level to be a 4 or an 8, or whatever. So it's really nice. You can manipulate its levels. Then you can detach a card from this and search a Galaxy or Photon card, which is really nice. It's a search engine basically. Then obviously Blast. Blast is Blast. He's Jimmy Neutron. Got a Blast. Using him for years. And then the last card in the extra deck is Zeus, if you didn't already guess it. Yeah, it's in a different sleeve. Sorry, I've been running it in tier limits, so I didn't want to change the sleeves. I don't like change my sleeves that much because it can damage my cards. But that's literally the perfect extra deck. There's not a single card that I miss, except for sometimes I miss Infinity and Nova, just to make Nova and Infinity and all that stuff, shenanigans. But sometimes when that part comes up, I'm already in a lose-lose situation regardless. There's not a single card that I think should be played over this. It's the perfect extra deck. But that's it for the main and extra deck, guys. There's no side deck today. It's not a tournament deck, but one thing I will say, if you haven't already clicked off the video because you're only here for the list and don't care about my input and me trying to help you, side deck wise is obviously 3 evenly, mainly because triple tactic thrust can search it. 3 Gozen match, because Gozen match is going to be really underrated against Kashtira, because like they have Earth, Wind, and other attributes. So like you lock them into 1, and if you hit them early on while you have a full board, you can like take control of the game significantly with that card. And no one's going to be really side decking back row removal against Galaxy Eyes because you don't really have back row. So yeah, 3 Gozen match for a going first option. Then 2 Tachyon Transmigration. You don't need 3. I know you want to see it, but you don't need 3, I promise. 2 will get the job done. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. I'd run two Twin Twister, 1 Lightning Storm. Not 1 Lightning Storm. 2 Twin Twister, 1 Duster, 2 Lightning Storm, 2 Nib. brings it up to the 15 card extra side deck. If that's like the most generic side deck that I would potentially run. But yeah, that's basically it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Depending on how the format changes, I'll obviously probably update it for like Kashtira. If Kashtira like takes off and they run some kind of sauce that is really strong or something like that we just haven't found yet. So be on the lookout for that and other Galaxy Houses content. I'll probably be posting my deck profile for the list that I got first place with at the pre-release after this video goes up. So be on the lookout for that and just other future content. Check the description for all the ways to support me. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Also, if you're new to the game and you want ways to get better at the game, get ways to better at using Galaxy Eyes or any deck or deck building or anything, check out the Patreon in the description below. You can get one-on-one time with me with that if you like subscribe to Patreon. Discord's down there as well. Become a member of the DD fam. Literally 95% of my freaking Discord is Galaxy House players. It's kind of crazy. I'm building an army. But other than that, follow your boy on Twitter and all that stuff. Just check out all the stuff in the description and ways to support me. I love you guys so much for it. But with that being said, it's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, aka Galaxy God, signing out until next video. I love you guys so much. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.